Welcome to the Numerology and Astrology for July 11th, 2020. If you add all those numbers together, you get a 13, and if you add the 1 and the 3 together, you get the number 4. The number 4 is about discovering a neutral mind in a chaotic world. Communicate fairly with an open mind and a loving heart, and while this number is about communication in a fair, just, noble, and generous way, it is also about listening. Sometimes the first step to a good exchange in communication is to know how to hear and listen first. Learning to listen in life, I discover that what often you hear is someone's fear, concern, upset, or slant. Minds love to make mountains out of molehills. Mine does the same thing. And we're trying to explain what we're feeling. We seek a reason for the discomfort and the emotions that we are experiencing. The problem is that the reasoning that the mind can come up with will not always be true or accurate. Fear is a powerful force, and fear can make things up quickly and also make something that is clearly irrational seem to a distressed mind rational. I have learned to not give total credence to my own mental emotional drama because I know that my emotions can cause craziness to run amok in my mind. I consider myself normal, so if I do it, then probably everyone else is also doing it. We are all human after all. We are caught in a dualistic world where much is concealed and we struggle to make sense out of the complex emotional experiences we are here to navigate. That is why training your brain to observe from a neutral vantage point is extremely helpful, if not essential, to move through upsets and things that are tremendously distressing. No matter what is happening, being able to remain calm and observe without getting embroiled in the emotions of a situation is extremely helpful right now in this world. Okay, the astrology today. The moon leaves the emotional and hypersensitive sign of Pisces and goes into the energetic and aggressive sign of Aries. On one level, I'm like, yay. On another level, I'm like, oh. So combining that with Mars also being in Aries, it creates a volatile cocktail that drives some to do a me first attitude. But there will be those that take this same energy to boldly go where no one has gone before. Use this energy to make new pathways through the unfolding patterns right now. The fiery nature of this astrology can move you to either be more energetic or more competitive. Remember to consider the consequences for your choices for the next few days. Chiron is also in Aries and going retrograde as Mercury stops going retrograde and prepares to move forward. I always notice that when some things are going backwards and other things are going forwards, you're really not sure which way is up. And that is why making grandiose decisions are rarely a good idea under these circumstances. What it is a good time to do is to reconnect to a healthy life and put yourself on an exercise program that is good for you, that you enjoy. Take time to reflect on the things that give your life meaning. Focus there, and you will find a deeper fulfillment that will give you an anchor to make sense out of this time in your life. Okay. So I didn't do a quote. I might end up doing a quote if you see my blog later, but I am trying to get out the door to help a friend who is dealing with someone whose house they died, and so they have their house that they have to deal with. And so that's my cat coming through. Of course, I have a black cat right here. So now, so my blog for today. Take some time out of your routine. I know that it can be hard, but the tension of being inside and working on the same thing over and over again can get dull and exhausting. Yesterday, we took off for the coast just for one day. We had dear friends that let us use their house along the coast, and it was so great to just walk on the cliffs above the beach, just even for a day. On the coast trail, we were all required to wear masks, which of course we did, and everyone else was also very respectful of the requirement. I know that I can't really be infected because I don't really go anywhere. And so, yet, if we are all super careful, this will be over sooner. So you can always, say, I just don't know where other people have been, even if you've been really careful. When no one was around, we of course pulled our masks down and took in the fresh air. It was lovely. Find the places that you can be free and step out of this emotional chaos that is in this world. Remember those times out with friends and family and in nature where you had those great conversations and took in the natural environment. So because of that last sentence, I thought, well, I'm going to give a story. And so when I was much younger, in my late 20s, I met a man who loved to climb the huge mountains in Nepal. And he took others on treks into the high altitude and was probably one of the most physically fit people I knew. He was married to another friend of mine, a fabulous healer, also one of the strongest women I've ever met. And they both traversed the world climbing mountains and incredible places. One day we were hiking the Grand Teton just to the first step. That's because I'm not a climber. I am great on 2 feet and on solid flat ground. Vertical is not my jam. So once we got to the top, we intended to turn around, and he asked me to try something called silent running. The goal was to run as softly and as quietly as possible. He told me to focus on his hair at the back of his neck in a ponytail, to not look at the ground, but to learn how to anticipate what was ahead based on the movement of his ponytail. I was game, and off we went. It was awesome, magical, spiritual, and at one with nature. We silently came upon elk, deer, possum, fox, and lots of other small animals that are clearly hiding because humans are so noisy as we stomp through nature. It was like floating and flying at the same time. You could tell so much about the trail ahead based on the movement of his ponytail. There are moments when that you remember forever because of their oneness with all of life and nature. There are moments that change you and shape you. There are moments that define this life. And there are moments that you will reflect on and remember fondly when you are dying and leaving this body. That moment was one of them. My suggestion this summer is go make some of those.